Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and we've got quite the film tonight. It is a bit of a vampiric brigadoon, as it were, with such a great title, The Vampires Night Orgy. Not that kind of orgy. More of a blood kind of thing. They're vampires. Oh, don't be disappointed. Anyway, it is directed by the director Leon Klimovsky, a frequent collaborator with Paul Naschy, everyone's favorite Polish werewolf, although he is Spanish, much like this film. They collaborated on Werewolf versus the Vampire Women, Vengeance of the Zombies, the Spanish giallo, Butterfly for Each Corpse, which also featured Erica Blanc, and Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf, which also featured the star of this film, Jack Taylor, an American actor who was very popular during the 70s, early 80s, in genre films like the aforementioned Dr. Jekyll, as well as the notorious Jess Franco soft-core horror flick, Female Vampire, the third zombie Templar film, The Ghost Galleon, and the outrageously gory Pieces, which also starred Linda Day George and her husband Christopher George. But here we have the Vampires Night Orgy. Great title. We're first introduced to a group of diverse people. They are all from an employment agency, and they're heading by bus to a Spanish town to get work with a very well respected and rich employer. You got like gardener, housemaids, mechanic, chauffeur, all that. When a bit of bad luck happens.
Hey, what's the matter? Ernest, come here. Take hold of the wheel. Step on the brake, hurry.
Ooh, bad luck. Driver had a heart attack. Well, they managed to stop the bus, but he's done for. Well, they've got to do something. Now, one of the women has a small daughter, so they send the daughter out to play while they take care of resituating the body. And she meets a little friend. Where'd he go? Well, anyway, they then have a discussion. Do they continue on to their destination, which is about 100 kilometers, or do they detour to this town that seems to be only 10 kilometers down this other way? Well, if they went to the little town, they could do all the things, reporting the body, getting taken care of, and maybe get something to eat or drink. Okay, they'll do that. They're going to be late regardless, so might as well take care of the unfortunate man in the back. So they head to this village, which seems to be completely deserted.
Notice anything strange?
Strange? Such as?
Where is everyone? In the village there were no people, but in a bar or tavern you can always find someone.
Good point. Strange to have a bar empty like that. Well, it's not exactly totally deserted.
But do you live here? No. I've been here about an hour. I took a walk around the village, but I didn't see a living soul.
Could be there in church.
The whole town? That's impossible.
And why?
Because I thought the same thing. But in this whole village, there's not a single church.
That is Lewis. He is a tourist who basically he tried to take a shortcut and he ended up there. He's lost. And he has done some scouting around, and it seems there are beds upstairs, so maybe the villagers will be back in the morning or whatnot, but as it is, there's some alcohol. Might spend the night, see where things are tomorrow. Sure, why not? And Lewis makes a discovery in his room's wardrobe. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. No. No yay for that. After everyone's sound asleep, Ernesto, who is going to be the chauffeur, mechanic, and whatnot, he's staying up. And he hears some noises outside, and he goes to check the bus. Where'd the body go? No time to dwell on that. Seems the villagers have returned, and they're a little weird, and they start to chase Ernesto. I don't think Ernesto's going to be in this film anymore. The next morning, the villagers are all back. And they're making bread for their new guests, who they are very happy to have with them. And they have a nice little breakfast of rolls and coffee and stuff. And they meet the not official mayor, but I mean, they call him the major, but he's sort of the mayor. And he says they're all the town's guests as long as they need to be. And then he's called back to the kitchen for a slight problem.
Major, what kind of food are we going to serve out there? With the flour we had, we made rolls, but it's meat that these people need.
You know perfectly well that this problem, like all others, will be solved by the Countess.
Oh, yes, Countess. Well, what's the Countess's solution? Well, that is a little task left to a person called Gigante, and he is aptly named.
Now, what good is that rotten leg to you, huh?
Now you like it. You don't think...
This meat has a real tender appearance.
You will find it is not only the appearance, sir. Only these villages buried between mountains can boast of meat of such excellent quality.
Oh. Sorry about that. No, no. I'm empty. It's good. Well, yeah, well. You're a zombie. You can take that stuff. Then Ernesto shows up, and he's a little worse for wear.
Ah, Later on, you can tell me how you arranged it. For my part, you could have cooked and eaten the poor bastard.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Meanwhile, they get ready to leave, but both Lewis's car and the bus won't start. Ernesto checks the bus, and well, there's a little problem. We're going to need some parts. And then the major tells him, well, it's going to take a little while. They only have a horse-drawn cart to get supplies, so it'll be a few days. But in the meantime, the Countess would like to meet them.
The Countess wishes to tell you simply that you may stay in Tolya as many days as you like, without worrying about anything. And, above all, she would feel truly honored if you, in the name of the entire group, would accept this little gift of money.
Wow! They can stay there for as long as they need, not have to pay for anything. And they get a big envelope of money, too. Wonder what she wants in return.
Possibly, could you allow your young talented friend to stay here in the house for an hour or two, to recite for me some of those unforgettable works I love so much?
Ah, she has set her sights on the tutor of the group for some... No. She wants to talk about art and culture from someone who knows art and culture, that's all.
I really wish to speak to my wife. My wife? What wife? I have no wife.
Oh, insupportable idea. Better to have in this moment an enormous eclipse of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and this terrified world open and swallow us all.
There, see? Just culture and stuff. Okay, I was wrong. But even that has a price to be paid for it. High price. Although, maybe now they can be with each other for eternity. Meanwhile, Luis is, again, spying on Alma, who was the maid at the place they were going to, and then sends her a note under the bed that he will always watch for her. Why do we always gotta have these sleazy heroes? Anyway, the leader of the group, Godot, and he proposed gardener, whose name was Marcus, get lured to the bus by Ernesto. Whew, party's getting pretty low. The next morning, Lewis and Alma talk. There's only 4 of them left now. Just them and the, I think she was either going to be the cook or the housekeeper, Raquel, and her little girl, Violet. They're gonna have to play this very close to the vest. Meanwhile, the little girl, who's run into that little boy again, and they've been playing, and they're playing hide and seek. And Violet, unfortunately, picks the knife grinder's shop to hide in, while Gigante is off to do the Countess's business again.
What else can I do?
The Countess says you can do your work with only your one arm.
Yep. And Violet sees it all. After another lunch, they invite the Major to have a drink with them, but he only drinks a special blend.
Excellent. But I'm afraid you wouldn't like the taste.
That liquor was awful red. Unfortunately, Alma finds a digit in her food, which freaks her out. But it's okay. The Major goes in and checks, and it turns out that there had been a slight accident in the kitchen. Man, that Countess. She's strict. Anyway, Violet is again playing with the little boy. Though she was told not to leave her room. Her mother, who'd gone out to look into some things, she's convinced by the little boy, and end up playing in the cemetery for some reason. And then he disappears on her again.
Mama! 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 Mama!
Locked in. Next, Raquel, finding her daughter missing, goes looking for her and ends up in a tunnel underneath the tavern. Luckily, she manages to escape back to her room. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Now, earlier, Luis had checked his car and found that a wire had been disconnected. So his plan is, at nightfall, they'll gather Raquel and the little girl, sneak down to the car, and escape. He will fix the wire then. So they're biding their time waiting. Back at the cemetery, the little boy reappears. And little girl has a bit of an accident. I think you can guess where this leads.
Violet! Violet! Violet!
It's like that chicken episode on MASH. If you've ever seen MASH, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the distraught boy buries her. And then, in an amazingly quick turnaround, her now vampire mother goes to convert her. Yeah. In her grief, she digs Violet back up and then drags her off somewhere. I don't know. Maybe she can convert her anyways. I mean, I think they did that with the bus driver. It's hard to tell. Anyways, now with just the two left, they sneak out of the tavern fix the car, get it going, and we get a hellacious chase through the town, running over vampires, running through blockades before they finally make it out, and they are safe. Wait. Did they kill that vampire with a letter opener? Must have been a dagger, I guess. Anyway, once past the Tonya limits of the town they were in, well, there's sunshine. Nothing that they ever saw in that village. And it has a bit of an effect on the Countess, too. Nasty. Anyways, the body completely disintegrates. Now they don't have any proof of what was going on. But that's okay. They head to the big city that the whole group had been going to in the first place. And they go to the police, explain everything. The police are rather incredulous, as you would be. After all, that town's not on the map. But they're insistent, so he takes them back out there to see for himself and see what their story's like.
Are you convinced now?
No turnoff? No sign? No village in the distance? Was this all a dream that like the inspector suggests? I'd be inclined to think so if it wasn't for the last shot. Told ya. Brigadoon. Every cycle or so, probably 100 years, maybe, the village appears, lures in some people, and so on and so on. Now, as with most Spanish horror films, there are two versions. There is the Spanish version, which, because of Franco's rather Catholic and conservative outlook, put a very big stop on anything that was too gory or any salaciousness, especially nudity. So that was the local version. Now for Europe and the US and such, there was a second version that was edited, which had more gore and more nudity. Most specifically in the scenes where our hero spies on the heroine while she changes. Oh, and the love scene between Caesar the Tutor and the Countess. Actually, I think he even had some nudity in that one. If and you're into that. Yeah, it's a very standard style of 70s Eurohorror, especially from the Spanish horror factory. A little convoluted, a little silly. Logic doesn't apply. It's there for thrills and chills. Basically, these kind of films played in a lot of the outer boroughs, not in the cities a lot of the time. So they had to, make things a little more outrageous to kind of bring in the people so that they want to see something they haven't seen before. So we get a lot of that. And Jack Taylor, he's pretty good. He's always been a pretty good hero or villain, depending on the film, especially in Eurohorror. And this has kind of a dreamlike quality to it. Like maybe this all didn't happen, as the inspector suggests. Obviously, Kaminsky was getting some inspiration from Orsiano, the guy who made the Blind Dead movies. Those always had kind of a dreamlike quality to them. And you're gonna bite me again, aren't you? I can see it in your eyes. Yep, I knew it. And there's some gruesomeness in this. I mean, when they're chopping off people's limbs to feed the guests. But all in all, it's a very standard, very fun little film. Again, it is a public domain title, so you can find copies of it anywhere. Some with the nudity, some without, depending on your tastes. And yeah, I kind of like it. It's different with the whole village and some really dark moments, such as when the little girl was accidentally suffocated. And it kind of reminds me of the Vertilac, as if you've ever seen that, the Mario Bava Black Sabbath film, where the patriarch of the family gets turned into a Vertilac and then just slowly works his way down through the rest of his family. Only here it's the village, and they're working their way down through the tourists. A lot of dark humor in it, such as after the first meal, the group's manager making the quip about, "I don't care if you cooked and ate him," and some other things. And it's got some good scare moments. So, all in all, pretty good low-budget European horror with a bit of sleaze added to bring in the punters, as they used to be called. And yeah, not quite up there with some of Nashi's films, but who can compare with Nashi? Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay after credits for my favorite scene.